I'd like to get to Dr. Abdurrahman Abu Hamisu. As a political scientist, what's your interpretation of the flurry of statements credited to U.S. President Donald Trump and then the reaction of the Nigerian side?
Well, thank you very much. You see, unfortunately, most of us are getting highly emotional about this issue. And rightly so, because they know us to be people that are not given to thinking, who react, we don't look at issues from the base. And that way they are able to trigger us. What Trump has done is to create an alibi, to start an engagement process that is not different from the gunboat diplomacy during colonialism. You remember the Akasa massacre in the Niger Delta? What was at issue? Because local gin was being brewed in Akasa and it was competing with imported gin. So they have to sack Akasa. So this is exactly what Donald Trump is doing now. You know, one thing we fail to understand, these are a bunch of pirates dressed in suits, going about the world, stealing resources, and they use justifications. When they came to Africa and other places they colonized, what did they say? They went on what? Civilizing mission. So how
civilizing a civilized society.
Yes. How do you civilize people? By bombing them? The same thing America did. They went to Vietnam. I'm laying a contest before I come to your question. They said they wanted to save the Vietnamese from communism. So they have to bomb the people they want to save from communism. So what are you saving? Now, let us come back to Nigeria. We have an issue. And what is playing out in Nigeria is economical. It's not religious. It's the framing that we use this religious divide in order to create negative and positive that continue to interact and cause more mayhem. Why did I say it is economic? You remember what is being framed today as clash between Muslims and Christians, or Muslims killing Christians or Muslims. You know how it started, especially in 1999. It started as indigenous settler problem all over the country. It was not an issue that was happening in Benue State alone. There was a fight in Okigwe involving the Hausa Fulani that were there selling cattle and the Igbo host. It happened in Shagamu. It started in the Middle Belt, and it was who supposed to aspire to public office and who supposed to have access to state posts. And that was how the issue started. And then we started saying that you are an indigene, you are a settler. So an Ogbomosho man in Kano that was born in, say, 1950 and is like 60 years now cannot aspire to become governor of Kano State because it's not an indigene by the framing of we Nigerians. Now, the other issue again is resource conflict between others and farmers. Now, what is even puzzling to me as a Nigerian is how we came about the framing that farmers are the indigenous people, that is the Tiv, the Birom, the Angas, the Anagutas, and others solely Fulani. So if there is a conflict between other and farmers, automatically it's between Fulani, Muslim, and Christian Tiv or Christian Angas. But do we know that majority of the Fulani, we have Christians among them that are Fulani. We have animists that are Fulani. So how do we come about this narrative that whenever there is any problem, every Fulani person is a Muslim and every indigenous person is a farmer? Now, why I'm raising this question was there was this very particular intervention that was sponsored by USAID. I was part of those that went to Taraba. And what did we go to? What did we went to Taraba to do? The community was brought together where you have Muslims, Christians, farmers, and others. And guess what we found? Even the indigenous people are others. They have their cattle. The indigenous people, we went to Namnei, we went to Shira, we went to Suntai. And what did the USAID did? How can they come together to resolve their conflict? And they did it under the local chiefs of those communities that I mentioned. So they trained them on conflict resolution. Mm-hmm. So what we did, it is called mediation tent. Now this is what we know in this country. My great-grandfather was a community leader. And I'm coming back to that issue. And what used to happen is, once others go out, sometimes nature may call. And the other will, that is quite different from driving cattle knowingly into people's farm. Now, this is based on what everybody knows. Okay, the little boy that is adding the cattle needed to obey the call of nature. And then he leaves the animals and decides to go and answer the call of nature. And before he comes back, the animals had already strayed into people's farm. So what do? Wherever you find Fulani, you find their leader. So they look for the Ardo. And every Ardo knew who grazes where. And they would ask him, within 2 days, produce the person that grazes in so place. That is what they did in Shira and Amne. And they will bring the person. Okay, what happened? Well, it is not planned. It is nature call. And then I will decide, and this is what happened. Okay, how do we compensate the farmer? And they settle themselves amicably under NC.
But now that we are here,
yes,
the U.S. president has made statements that are quite telling.
Yes.
The Nigerian side has reacted.
Yes.
What's your interpretation, be it politically, be it in diplomacy?
Yes.
How do you interpret this?
Let me interpret it for you. There is a current fight that is going on globally. And the fight is who controls the world. If you go back to history, as far back as 1904, Alfred John Mackinder propounded a theory that is called the Heartland theory. He said whoever controls Eurasia controls the world. And he told the West that they should never allow any powers to emerge from Eurasia to challenge the West. That was amplified by Brzezinski, the former U.S. Secretary. And he said that this century was going to pose a serious challenge to the West, especially American leadership, and that they should do everything to ensure one thing, that any nation that is cohesive, that is not looking towards the West, to be shaped by the West, should be destroyed. And he called it a torn state. And this very particular template is what is playing out now. I will explain. A power has emerged from Eurasia, as it is now, China. And then the traditional trade route that was created during colonialism was being weaponized against China, against Russia, against Iran, against North Korea. And then the Chinese are not sleeping, they've gone to work. So they responded with Belt and Road Initiative. The Belt and Road Initiative is meant to create alternative trading route and corridor that bypasses the Western control and dominated corridor. For instance, there is a direct train linkage between Tehran and Russia, bypassing Suez Canal that is under the control of the West using Egypt. So, now, how does that affect Nigeria? Nigeria has the population. Nigeria has rare earth minerals, is 5th or 6th globally. Nigeria has oil. These 3 things. Now, the Chinese have come to Nigeria. They are in control of almost 60% of the rare earth minerals that they are processing and selling to America. The Belt and Road Initiative needs Nigeria, whether under the BRICS or any other arrangement. The West doesn't want to lose Nigeria. So what is happening? This genocide is just an alibi, a facade, because Trump is good at one thing. He uses war as a threat to get countries to run to America to come and make concession.
So have we reacted well to it?
So now, that is exactly what I'm saying, that we are too emotional. We don't really sit back to look at things. You remember when President Muhammadu Buhari, it's not coincident, I will give you 3 instances. How did President Jonathan lose the election in Nigeria? You have to understand this. They wanted a military base. And because they wanted a military base, the condition they gave to President Jonathan was, give us a military base and we'll give you arms to fight the insurgents. And Nigerians were not favorably disposed, and the president refused. Do you know what the letter said? That they are concerned about human rights. That is why they did not give us arms. But beneath that very particular human right is the demand for something. Give us military base, we'll give you arms. President Muhammadu Buhari, we were celebrating it. We came to NTA, we were celebrating the whole thing, that is going to save us from the punishment that dollars has imposed on us by agreeing to currency swap between Nigeria and China. What happened? President Muhammadu Buhari was accused. He has to run to America to go and meet Trump. And when he came back, did you hear of currency swap up to today? No. Now President Bola Tinubu is in a dilemma, and the dilemma is simple. The Russians and the Chinese have taken most of the critical states in Sahel, Niger, Chad, and Mali. So Nigeria ought to be used as a stepping stone or as a battleground to take back
to counter
the Sahel.
Yes.
And now, if they did not create crisis by saying that they are coming to invade us because Christians were being killed, in order to cause that division that Brzezinski talked about, that any cohesive nation that is not looking towards the West ought to be fragmented. And that was what they did in Iraq.